Oh my God, it's Wednesday, January 5th, and it's noon with news that you can use from YAA with your dear friends Ray and Zach. Zach feeling a little bit of pain from his wisdom tooth removal on Monday, but I dare say he's looking pretty damn good.
Thank you, Pops. He said no strenuous activity for 48 hours. Little did he know I would do 2 live streams in that time, and I am going to go for a run tonight. But Pops, that is
Let me tell you, that to me would wear me the hell. Oh no, wait, I do this 5 times, 6 times a week. Yeah, it
that
doesn't
is
bother me
neither
at all.
here nor there.
Yeah,
Pops, today I was thinking what we do is let's talk about it's the golden era for electric vehicles. CES, the
yeah.
Consumer Electronics Show, is happening first day today. You know, it's actually right now. Our viewership might be down today, and that's okay because Mary Barra is
Yeah.
giving the keynote at CES right now at noon Eastern. So we are not offended if you choose to tune in to Mary Barra. And actually, you know what? I am offended. If you choose.
I would be offended because Mary Barra is going to spend whatever amount of time she has blowing smoke up everybody. Well, whatever.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that to you. But yeah, Dad, I
No.
thought let's run through the headlines from CES. There are many of them, and honestly, just within the automotive world today, a lot of things going on. What was your favorite headline though coming out of CES this morning? I know I've got mine.
Well, I think my favorite was God, what was it? It was either the Sony one
Yeah.
or there was I forget what the other one was, but
So Chrysler. So I'll lead off with mine. Sony's is pretty incredible as well. My
yes.
favorite head is Chrysler says they're going to a full EV platform, no more ICE cars by 2028. That's Stellantis's biggest push so far into the EV world.
Yes. Yeah, well, considering they don't really have anything to sell other than a Pacifica and their van and the Chrysler 300 that was updated, I don't know, in 1977 the last time. Yeah, they have to make a push to do something, and yeah, they're going to become the
The
Chrysler's the Stellantis's big push towards electric, I suppose. You know.
So remember, Dad, Stellantis, or excuse me, yeah, it was Stellantis. They came out and they said that they're moving towards this like software push when it comes to their
Yes.
cars. So this
Yes.
new push with Chrysler actually incorporates, I think they have like 3 new business units that they've got. They've got Stellantis Brain,
Yeah.
Stellantis Smart Cockpit, and Stellantis Auto Drive. All those things are rolling out, going to be part of their EV package. Also going to include a heck of a lot of chips, most likely. But let me show you. Can I show you a few photos here, Dad, of what Chrysler intends to do?
Yes, and it's coming back to me, some of the things that I thought were highlights of the show.
Great. Well, we get to start
Yeah.
with mine, which was Chrysler, and then we can turn over to
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, and here, let's look at the photos first.
Good looking vehicle.
I mean, yeah, looks
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see like this looks like a little bit like the Ford Mach-E. It looks a little bit like the Lucid from the front. I mean, it looks like they took a lot of inspiration. Honestly, even a little like Jaguar I-Pace.
If I may say,
Huh.
they're all beginning to look alike. It is as if every automotive designer of electric vehicles hasn't had an original thought since 3rd grade.
What does
And
that say? What does that say, Pops?
that says I don't know if you can read this. You're too close. That's what it says. I don't know what it says. Airflow. Yeah, that's the Chrysler Airflow. I mean, it's interesting, but I swear to you, every electric vehicle at a certain point begins to look the same.
They really
Every
do.
one of them.
Well, there you go. That's what the new Chrysler is going to look like. Let's come back out here. So yes, I love this line. The product-starved brand plans to debut its first battery electric model by 2025 and will eliminate ICE vehicles by 2028. That is aggressive. That is very
You
aggressive.
think? Yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking 6 years from now. Yeah.
That's nuts. And the fact that their first EV is going to come out in 2025, yeah.
Does anybody care that there isn't the infrastructure to support all this?
I was reading about that this morning. There's if you really want to get into the weeds of like the auto industry, there's a great website called Automotive Ventures.
Yes.
it's like a hedge fund and a venture fund and everything. And Steve Greenfield's the guy who runs it, and he puts out a newsletter weekly and monthly. And one of his big ones for 2022 was like, this is going to be the year. His big like hypotheses for 20. This is the year of EV infrastructure. It has to be, because the other headlines, Dad. Let me ask you: were there any other headlines from CES that weren't EV related?
Yeah, I'm sure there are. It's the
For you,
consumer electronics.
for you.
Well, I only looked at the ones in regards to the automotive industry.
Yeah.
I mean, Sony made some interesting announcements, both in automotive and in their consumer electronics, mainly their televisions. And I am a big Sony guy, and I'm thinking to myself, well, gee, maybe I should have waited another year, or maybe they'll suck me in to buy another OLED TV. Yeah, but
We have
yes,
GM.
the big takeaway for me.
Hmm.
Was the announcement from God, all of a sudden
You got it, Pops. You got it.
no, I don't have it. I lost it. I can When you reach a certain age, your brain doesn't function as well as it used to. Well, at least my brain. Yeah. Yeah, but that helped. The announcement that Intel has because I've lost my Intel. Intel has partnered or is going to partner with Honda, and Peugeot, and I forget the other major brand, to provide chips, the newer style chips for their manufacturing in the future. And I thought that was a big deal.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
really is. I mean, anything related to the chip shortage is going to be major news, and anything that's domestic related to the chip shortage is going to be major news.
Yes. But that one struck me as there are some manufacturers thinking outside of the proverbial box.
Can I show you the three other stories that stood out to me? You hit on one of them, which is the Sony news. But can I show you three other stories that really stood out to me
Sure.
from CES
Yeah,
so far?
absolutely. Yeah.
All right, let me share my screen with you, Pops. We'll start here. GM prepares to make electrifying mark at CES. GM plans to unveil the Chevrolet Silverado EV and show and explain its role in an EV and AV future. That's fascinating. Really, it's more
Yeah.
seeing the new Silverado, right? That's the big news
Yes.
today.
That's a big deal because they have to compete with the F-150 Lightning.
Which we got pricing for today, if I'm not mistaken, didn't we?
Our dear friend Alex was gracious enough to send me a link to a Motor Trend, so that the most amazing thing is what makes the Lightning interesting is the fact that it's relatively inexpensive, until, of course, you want anything in it. And one of the things that if you wanted the extended range capability, well, you had to spend on certain models an extra $19,500. Now, the extra range portion of it's only 10,000, but there were other options that are bundled with it you can't get the extended range without getting that other bundle. It reminded me of when Acura had the automatic tailgate available in an MDX. And in order to get that, you had to have the entertainment package built into the car with the TV screens and
Yeah.
everything. And because apparently the Japanese find it very entertaining when the tailgate can go up and down automatically. So they made that part of the entertainment package. It was not a separate item. Now, Ford makes the extended range thing as a separate item, but you can't buy it as a separate item. What is that?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, once you go that route,
Huh.
it's no longer a cheap vehicle.
No, you can get a Lightning that's nearly $100,000. Is what I was.
Yes. And
Yeah.
if I spent $100,000 on Lightning, I would deserve to be struck by it. Yeah.
All right, so GM unveiling the Silverado EV. I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be probably the biggest competitor to Ford and their push,
Yes.
and quite frankly, Rivian and some of the others out there as well. Now, the other story that I'm interested in, Dad, comes by way of BMW. Tired of that BMW's color? Hit a button. The reason I'm intrigued by this, so there's some new technology that allows you to change the color of your car. you already know that you're gonna have to like subscribe to a color, and then they're
Yeah.
gonna come out with like cool custom colors, and you're gonna have to pay for them. I
Can you go?
swear, we're
Can you
in
go
a
back
video.
to that picture? Can
Yeah,
you?
okay, yeah, I can go.
Okay. Because well, I look at that picture and I keep thinking, well, whoever that designer is, he found Bugs Bunny really interesting. I mean, if those aren't Bugs Bunny teeth on the front of that vehicle,
That's
I
pretty
don't.
ugly.
Well, but Bugs Bunny had some of the biggest, whitest teeth ever. But doesn't that look like Bugs Bunny teeth? I mean, I don't know. Perhaps maybe you don't remember Bugs Bunny, but
I remember Bugs Bunny. No, that's pretty ugly. I mean, this is like a very not good looking vehicle.
it is exceedingly ugly, and the scary part is that a lot of people high up in the organization said, "Yeah, that's good looking."
Yeah, well, and I truly think though this is like at CES we see some of the things that are the wave of the future. Could be 10 years off, could be 15 years off.
Yes,
But like if you think about it, I know you don't play video games, Dad, and I haven't played a
not
video
anymore.
I haven't played a video game since I mean maybe in high school, but I know that in these games you can like make your character look different, and like some of that you can do for free, but other times
Yeah.
you have to pay for it and you get like upcharged. Like
Yes.
there's a phrase, like a business phrase that describes like paying small amounts of money for like little things in the game. I forget what it's called right now.
Yeah. It's called the sucker plan.
I think we're seeing the same thing with cars. Like that's
Yeah.
what this technology starts to potentially enable. It's like you want camo on your car? You're going to the
Yeah.
woods? You want to like okay. Anyway, I found
Yeah.
that interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have some electrons within the paint so that you can do an over-the-air color change.
Exactly. All
Yeah.
right. So then the third story that I was fascinated by at CES, and you mentioned it, Sony is exploring a leap into the EV business. So they have an
Yes.
actual vehicle prototype that they have on display at CES. It's their
Yeah.
Vision SO2 prototype. I just like I haven't even thought about a new player outside of like a complete startup getting into the EV business. It makes sense. I mean, Sony is huge. They have lots of capital. They have lots of expertise. They're thinking
They
about going into the car business.
they have lots of technology that you would need, and I believe their tagline would be, "Hey, with the new Sony EV, it's a PlayStation on wheels. You don't have to pretend you're driving that car in Gran Turismo. You really are." You know
How
that
neat would that be, honestly, if like you have your car in a video game and then you have your car in real life and they're like synced? God, that's totally gonna happen. That's nuts.
yes,
And that's so
yes.
stupid. That's so unnecessary.
Well, yeah, but your children, when you have them, they won't think it's unnecessary because that's all they'll know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on at CES is gonna make a lot of headlines. I think a lot of it obviously is like a ways away, but it's fascinating to see. And we've talked about it a bit, Dad. Like we thought last year there was a lot of news about electric vehicles. This year there'll be even more. Next year there'll be even more. I mean, it is. I think we're in the roaring 20s again, but this time I think it's
Yes.
for EVs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Nobody's doing the Charleston just yet, but that was a dance in the Roaring
Yeah, I
Twenties.
got you.
Okay, but there is electricity in the air. It's an electric atmosphere with what is going on when it comes to what vehicles will be in the future. Some of it is obviously technology advancements. Others are completely different drivetrains
Yep.
and engine sources. It's pretty fascinating as to what's going on. It's pretty pricey when you look at the prices of these things, and the thing that I said before that scares the hell out of me is, everybody's talking about it, but there is no infrastructure to support it. And one of the great things about our country and other countries
Mhm.
is that we talk about stuff, but we never build it.
It's just gonna
Okay,
take a
you,
little
you
while, pops.
yeah, yeah, I mean, if you want to have the future that everybody seems in the automotive industry seems to be envisioning, then somewhere along the line, we need to really start putting together the infrastructure to make it happen. And I don't see that happening at the present time, not to the degree that we're going to need it with that nearly $500 billion committed to EV investment by the manufacturers. And companies like Stellantis saying, okay, Chrysler is going to be all EV by 20. That's 6 years, 2020. I mean, that's craziness to a certain degree
You might
without the
even still be
infrastructure.
around. Fingers crossed, knock on wood.
What was that?
I said you might even still be around.
Well, God, I hope so. I'm only 70. 70's the new 50, buddy.
You do look good. You do
Well,
look good.
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So, Pops, the other news that I wanted to hit on today, we have the fourth quarter results for all the different automakers. Sales were down. Doesn't mean that their market capitalizations took a hit or anything. Everyone's making money, but man,
Yes.
the sales down. And I think the lead story here is, again, actually another Ford story. Mind if I share the data with you?
I love data.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at the numbers over here. Whoops. On Automotive News' website. But before we do, I actually put up on Jalopnik. They have the article even cleaner and easier to read. So here's December sales year over year. And what I actually want to focus in on is car sales.
Okay.
Down 65% for the year, 66, call it 67% year over year for the month of December. Ford cars took a freaking beating, that's for sure. That being said, like their overall sales actually weren't down too terribly much compared to their peers. But look at that,
Yes.
that car sales literally down 65%. Isn't that crazy?
Well, that really is. But when you think
It's the news we've been
Ford, you
reporting.
don't
They
think
haven't been,
cars anymore. You
yeah, they
think
haven't been
SUVs,
stores.
trucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, let me pull up the automotive news data and we can look at this here. So we've got the year over year change right over here and the
Yes.
year over year change for the quarter right here. We'll stick with quarter. So BMW sales were down 6%. Mini sales were only down 8%. That's kind of remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rolls-Royce sales up 40%. So Ford's
Yeah.
total sales down 5%. Lincoln has just been struggling.
Yes.
They're a brand that may not be around for too terribly much longer.
Well, they sold a whole 87,000 units for the year.
Yeah.
Lincoln
Wow.
did. Yeah.
Buick sales down 35%, Cadillac sales down 47%. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. GM was really the hardest hit
Yes.
of the manufacturers, the OEMs in the fourth quarter. They've struggled the most with the chip shortage. Kind of ironic then that Mary Barra is the CES keynote, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. That is, but she's going to paint a rosy picture because it can only get better.
Honda sales for the quarter down 21.5%. And then the brands that
But
have
but you see,
yeah.
some of the things that I find really interesting is when you look to the far right and you see that even though Honda sales as a company were off 21%, 21.5% in the fourth quarter, they were still up nearly 9% year over year for the
You're in a
entire year.
section here where you get good news because then
Yeah.
Hyundai Kia was up 21.5% for the year. Mazda
Yes.
sales were up 19%. And we've been
Yes.
telling you for 12 months now, days supply of these cars are not existent. I mean, it's like 10 days supplies of these cars, but people are still buying them and they're producing just enough, which always comes back to this is probably why this is the new normal because people are still buying them. The cost to actually like hold the inventory has gone down and the profits have gone up. But anyway, that's
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, but there's some really interesting numbers in there.
Genesis. I mean, like the adoption of Genesis. Look at that, up 200%
Yes.
in a year. That's incredible.
Yes, and up 200% in the quarter.
Yeah. Hyundai Kia, like we said, sales down for the quarter, but for the year up. Mazda sales again down for the quarter, pretty significantly, honestly.
Yes.
But up for the year as well. You can see the chip shortage there. Mitsubishi.
Yes.
That's incredible.
But you know what's even more incredible is the fact that they outsold Lincoln by 15,000 units. And trust me, there's a handful of Mitsubishi dealers in comparison to how many Lincoln dealers there are.
Absolutely.
So that to me is a pretty staggering number. Because Lincoln is a legacy brand. Mitsubishi is a relative newcomer, been in selling cars in this country for maybe 35, 40 years, maybe a tad longer.
It
Yeah,
speaks to
that they
price points though as well, Dad, right? Like, I mean, there's just as you like to say, a dearth of inexpensive, more economical cars, and Mitsubishi
yes,
produces them.
yes,
Infinity sales down 46.5% over a quarter. They're struggling. Nissan Motor Group has also, not done well with their Infinity brand. That's kind of like the Lincoln story as well, just not doing
yes,
well. Nissan down, but up 12% for the year, and the group as a whole up 10%, which is pretty surprising.
yes,
Uh,
yes, it
let's
is.
let's talk about Stellantis. Let's see the Chrysler numbers. So they sold 115,000 vehicles this past year. So that
Yes.
means that they're going to move all 115,000 of those to EVs by 2028. That's aggressive.
Well, it could also mean that maybe they only expect to sell 85,000 vehicles in
You know,
2028.
you know they're not in a board meeting pulling up a chart showing it going down and to the right. It's going up and to the right. You know it's going up and to the right.
That's what they're telling everybody.
Dodge sales down considerably. If you remember, we got the news earlier or at the end of last year. No more, ICE engines in your Hellcats, in your
Yes,
SRTs, and
yes,
your Scat Packs. That's crazy, but that's the new normal. Down 19.5% nearly for the year. Fiat, Dad. Why the hell is Fiat? Look at these numbers.
yeah, they're pretty pathetic.
When does Fiat leave this country? What do you say? I'm putting you on the spot.
Spring of 2022. That's soon.
They
I
sold
mean,
267 cars. Wait, can you explain? Because you worked at a mini dealership that didn't move a
I
lot of metal. What the
yeah,
hell do you do? What do you do if you're a Fiat dealer right now? Like, how many cars do you sell a month?
well, the good news is most Fiat dealers are attached to or are within a Chrysler dealership. So you think to yourself, okay, if I can't get them into that Chrysler 300, maybe I could get them to take that Fiat. What do? You just you
Do you still
suffer
use
through.
cars?
You just suffer through, and you say to yourself, ultimately it really wasn't worth the investment. Um, we'll get through it and we'll forget about it and we'll move on, and hopefully Fiat will never make another appearance in the United States again.
These numbers are just abysmal. I mean, it's really, especially when it's like lined up like this, and you can see. I mean, Maserati outsold Fiat, Bentley outsold Fiat, Lamborghini outsold Fiat.
Yes,
Everyone outsold Fiat, but that is what it.
yes, yeah. It is some um, staggeringly low numbers if you're a
Maserati
Fiat dealer.
sales up considerably, Ram sales flat, and Stellantis overall down just a touch. Subaru, Dad, for the
Subaru
first
has really
time.
taken it in the shorts, as they say.
Yeah, they've struggled in the fourth quarter with the chip shortage, and for the first time in what, like 20 years, they had year-over-year sales decline
Yes,
in their
and
company's
and
history.
yeah, they are probably of the major manufacturers the worst so far at navigating the supply chain issues. They they have just been unable for 2 years to figure out how to get their hands on the parts and everything that they need so that they can produce in the volumes that they're used to. Because God knows if there were Subarus, people would buy them, but you can't take delivery of what doesn't exist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dad, Tesla, increase of 66% year over year. Look at those round numbers. How do you feel about those round numbers
You
ending?
know how I feel about their round numbers, but that's fine. They're a round number reporting company. It's just that simple. Yeah, that is some impressive growth, and that is in the industry or the aspect of the industry, the EV end of things that everybody wants to get a piece of. So they sold 314,000 electric vehicles in the United States last year. Um, how that convinces all the major automobile manufacturers to want to commit a $500 billion to getting into the electric vehicle business is beyond me. But
Yeah.
apparently the worldwide growth will be phenomenal.
Toyota Motor Corp struggled in that fourth quarter as well, but up for the year. And then the Nissan
And
Group.
supplanted GM as the largest volume seller of vehicles, cars and trucks in the United States for the first time. It's the first time General Motors has relinquished that title in 90 years.
2,202,598 vehicles sold for General Motors, down from the 2.5 million last year. Toyota at 2.3 million. Yeah, no, it's the first time.
If this was the National Football League, that would be enough to get Mary Barra fired.
I hope we meet her someday. And I'm sure she's a very nice woman. Okay, anyway.
I'm not saying she's not a nice woman.
You
but
just suggested
you don't run a company that's led the United States in sales volume for 90 years and be the first one to go, oh, well, we lost this year.
No, I get it. I totally get it. I do.
Yeah.
The only other automakers on here, VW Group, their sales were actually up 22%. So they handled the chip shortage relatively well, although we don't have numbers yet for Volkswagen. That'll be a major driver. But their luxury units.
And we don't have numbers for Mercedes-Benz yet. I don't know what they're waiting on.
Probably making sure they can beat BMW's numbers.
I don't think they're going to. How many more retail delivery reports can trickle in? But maybe some of these were by absentee ballot. I don't know.
So, Pops, today's, I think, a pretty monumental day in the auto industry. We have a lot of the winds of change on auto. We have these numbers showing the past year and how, okay, we didn't really navigate the chip shortage that well for some of us, but some companies, Tesla did. And I think we're at this inflection point, and we're going to look. Oh, gosh, Leon, I'm late. Did Zach say anything smart? No, I was just about to, but no.
Yes, it all started with hello, Leon.
I think that's the point, right? Is we're at this inflection, this moment in time where things are changing, and it's going to be rapid, and it's going to continue.
Yes, and could you pull up one other graph that you had sent to me via text today?
Oh, yes. Give me 1 second. I can pull that up.
Which I find this to be the most fascinating statistic I have ever seen. And I'm not sure what it says as far as the intelligence of those who have backed some of these companies. But
ready to see it?
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me about this.
Yeah,
I'll let you walk us through this.
This is the market capitalization per car sold of these particular car companies. So,
and Lucid and Rivian include their pre-orders, obviously.
Yes. So for Honda, the market capitalization is roughly $10,000 for every car sold. Seems a tad high to me. I'm not sure that Honda's making $10,000 on every car sold. Perhaps they are. But if they are, then that would indicate that there should be some return on investment for the investors. General Motors at $14,000 per car sold. Ford $19,000. BMW $30,000. Now you start getting to Toyota, and they're at $120,000 in market capitalization per car sold. And here's where it gets stupid. Okay, Rivian's delivered like 50 cars, and they have pre-orders. But for every car that they've sold, their market capitalization is worth $1.9 million for each car that's been sold. And Tesla's at $2.3 million, and Lucid is at $5 million. And I think I said to you that these folks that have bid up the stock values of these vehicles they're not tethered in reality. They are in their own self-created self-reality, fantasy land, thinking that this is sustainable. How can that possibly be sustainable? And I know that you always tell me the stock market is forward looking.
It is.
Well, okay, look forward. A company can't be worth $5 million per vehicle sold when they're making, I don't know, $20,000 when they sell that vehicle, or even if they're making $50,000 when they sell that vehicle. How does that translate into? Oh, no, that's really worth $5 million. I don't get it. You know,
There's a reason we're sitting here doing this, and there's other people sitting in a penthouse somewhere doing what they
yeah, because they have found that there are any number of suckers that are willing to buy into the BS that they're slinging. Okay, it's
Hi,
just that
Denise.
simple.
We're glad you're here, Denise.
Yeah.
Hi there.
I mean, what are these
Making my mouth hurt.
I'm sorry. That to me was the really, you got to be kidding me. I mean, what are people thinking?
I'll play it here.
Really? You got to
gotta
be kidding me. I think we should change that to really. Zach's mouth hurts.
It does. You have me smiling too much.
Yeah, I'm
All right,
sorry.
I'm going to take a Tylenol and an Advil.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. Let's see what comes out of CES tomorrow. I'm curious to see that chart that we just showed. It's on my Twitter at Shepska. Go ahead and follow that. Pops, appreciate you. Love you. Will I see you later?
I don't know. Do we have plans for later? I have to go to CVS and pick up a prescription. I think they're pills that'll either calm me down and make me giddy and happy, and then maybe I can see the value of Lucid.
Denise, Rob, thank you guys for joining us for the first stream. See you, Pops. Love you.
I love you too, Hans.